How's it going, guys? So this video is going to be on the Tanekaha tree, which is this tree here, and it's a beauty. So the Tanekaha is part of a small group of native celery pines that we have here. The other two common species are tortor and mountain tortor, but in this video we're just going to focus on mostly Tanekaha. So you'll find Tanekaha in most parts of the North Island and also a few places in the top of the South Island, but it doesn't seem to like the colder climates. The further south you go, you start getting into more mountain tortor. This is what the mature leaves look like, so you can see why they're called celery pines. They have kind of a thick celery type of appearance from a distance, and these leaves are actually technically flattened stalks. They're not actually leaves, but they still do the same thing as a leaf. They still photosynthesize and get in energy for the tree. They've also got quite an interesting juvenile form when they first start growing. They've got these really fine needle-like leaves, almost like tortida, and then once they're only a couple of inches off the ground, they start to form those flattened branchlets, those follicades, and that's when they start to develop that celery leaf look to them. Tanekaha can grow into a really big tree. It can get well over 20 meters tall, and I've seen them around 2 meters in diameter at the base. They tend to grow really nice and straight, and they've got a real nice, neat, uniform branching pattern typically, and from a distance they look kind of like a big cone. Tanekaha makes a really good firewood as well. It's got quite a light coloured timber to it. And another cool thing about the timber is that it's really flexible, makes good bows, and it's been used for building houses and making spears and stuff like that with it. But yeah, probably the coolest thing about Tanekaha timber is that it's real resinous, so it's got a lot of sap, similar to like an old man pine that has that fat wood, that sappy fat wood that makes getting a fire lit real easy. Tanekaha and the other celery pines, they have the same thing. So they've got like a white clear sap to them. So yeah, you can either cut into the wood and find it where you find sapwood, typically where branches attach to the trunk and places like that. But typically you're just going to be able to see sap leaking down the side of trees, especially young ones. And if you can't see that, you can usually see a bubble on the bark, and if you cut into that with your knife, you're going to find some nice clear resin, nice clear sap, and that stuff's going to burn like diesel. You can just spark it up with your lighter or a flint. Doesn't matter if it's been raining for 2 weeks straight, it's going to light real easy. It's such good fuel, and you can gather up quite a bit of it quite quickly. If you get half a handful, that'll burn on its own for a couple of minutes. If you got a full handful of it, you'd probably have enough fuel there to burn for 5 or 6 minutes, I'd say. You could probably actually boil a billy just with that alone without even adding any wood to it. Another cool thing about Tanekaha is that the bark can be made into a dye. So you can take the bark off and boil it up, and it makes like a red dye. And it's been used quite a lot in the past for making dye with. Personally, I've never tried it, but I did send some away to someone a few months ago. They were making a muka, some sort of muka mat, and they wanted some Tanekaha bark so that they could dye it and make some sort of pattern on it, I think. So yeah, it's a pretty cool use for it. You can also use the bark medicinally, so you can boil it up and rub it on your skin if you've got something like eczema. And it's also been used as a liver tonic and made into a tincture. Tanekaha can also be a colonizing species. It can grow in early succession forest, and that's what we're in at the moment here, and there's just loads of young Tanekaha coming up. It's really tightly packed, and some of it's just dying off, self-thinning, and those really nice big straight trees are starting to emerge. So yeah, that's the Tanekaha tree. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks heaps for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.